What would you do if the ocean you trusted turned into a nightmare? Tonight, two friends dive into a shark-filled trap, and nothing will ever be the same. The movie opens with a young guy named Greg and his friend Hessar heading down to the marina to take a boat out for a trip. They are visiting the city as tourists and want to rent a boat so they can dive in the water and see sharks up close. When they arrive, they meet an older man named Dave, who says he is a friend of Tucker, the boat owner. They plan to rent. Dave warns them about trips like this and tells them the last guy who went out was bitten by a shark and died suddenly. Tucker shows up, greets them, and asks if anyone knows they are there. They tell him they are just visiting the city and no one knows about the trip. Tucker says that is the best decision they could have made, then takes them out on the boat as they head into open water. He tells them a story about a shark that bit him when he was young and shows a huge scar on his back. Hessar feels bad for him and asks if he has anyone in his life. He says he has always been alone after a bit. While they reach a remote spot, and Tucker throws bait into the water to attract sharks. Greg notices Hessar is nervous about getting in, but Tucker calmly talks her through breathing exercises until she relaxes. Then he lowers them into the water inside a metal cage surrounded by sharks. Hessar starts to panic and struggles to breathe, but Greg holds her hand and reassures her until she calms down and begins to enjoy the view. Later, they come back up excited and tell Tucker it was an amazing experience. Without warning, Tucker pulls a dagger from his pocket, stabs Greg, and throws him into the water, then turns to Hessar with a terrifying look and welcomes her back on board. She screams in horror. Somewhere else, a young woman named Zavi leaves a grocery store and meets a guy named Moss near her car. He asks for a jump because his battery is dead. She agrees and goes with him. She learns he is a real estate agent while she is a traveler who moves from city to city, living out of her car with no family and no permanent home. When they get to his car, she finds out he loves surfing just like she does, and there is clear chemistry between them. They go back to his place and spend the night together. He seems happy to have her there and goes to make dinner. But when he comes back, she has already left on her way out. She notices the waves are high and decides to go surfing, but realizes she forgot the key to her gearbox. She looks around and sees a parked car nearby. As she approaches, Tucker appears and hands her a key that works. He asks why she came alone. She tells him she is always alone. He tells her to enjoy herself and walks away later. Moss texts asking where she is. She says she is at the beach and going into the water. He asks if he can join her. She says the ocean is open to everyone suddenly. Tucker comes up behind her, chokes her until she passes out, tapes her mouth shut, and drives her to his boat. The next day, Moss returns to the beach confused when he cannot find her. He calls her phone and hears it ringing inside her car. Worried, he goes to the police. But when the officer asks for her full name or address, he cannot answer and admits he has only known her for 12 hours. The officer says he cannot file a report, but will circulate her description the next day. Zavi wakes up handcuffed to a top bed. Terrified, she sees Hessar handcuffed beside her. Hessar tells her they were kidnapped and that Tucker is mentally unstable and killed her friend in front of her. They try to find a way out, and Zavi finds a thin wire that might unlock the cuffs, but Tucker walks in with food and water. They drink the water quickly because of the heat. After he leaves, Hessar suddenly passes out. Zavi rushes to free herself but starts feeling dizzy. Tucker returns and tells her she will lose consciousness soon. Because he drugged the water, he notices the wire, takes it from her, and says he loves prey that fights back before she can respond. She blacks out. She wakes up handcuffed to a chair on the deck next to Hessar, who is tied on the floor. Tucker stands behind them holding a camera aimed at the ocean. He grabs a lock of Hessar. Hair turns on a winch and lifts her over the shark-filled water, slowly lowering her in. While she screams in terror, Zavi begs him to stop, but he ignores her and films as the sharks attack Hessar, then turns the camera toward Zavi, capturing her fear and tears. After Hessar dies, he locks Zavi back in the room and celebrates, drinking and dancing in a disturbing way. When he finishes, he places the lock of hair and the tape he recorded into a cabinet filled with similar tapes. The next day, he brings Zavi food. She kicks it away and calls him sick. He says he is in love with sharks and must keep feeding them, then leaves alone in the room. She notices a bucket on the floor, breaks off the handle, and sharpens it later. Tucker returns with a syringe, planning to inject her while she pretends to sleep. As he leans in, she stabs him in the neck with the broken handle. He falls back, hits his head on the bed, and loses consciousness. Zavi moves fast, grabs the handcuff key from Tucker, and frees herself when she leans in to take the dagger. He suddenly wakes up and grabs her hand. She hits him and runs out of the room. Tucker chases her before she can lock him in. She sprints up the stairs toward the deck. He runs after her and manages to inject her with the drug, but she fights back again and keeps going until she reaches the control cabin. She tries to contact the Coast Guard for help, but the radio is dead. She spots a ship nearby and starts screaming at the top of her lungs as the drug begins to hit and her vision blurs. Tucker appears in front of her. She grabs the camera to defend herself. He tells her to put it back, but she throws it into the ocean and jumps in after it, swimming with everything she has until she passes out. Tucker pulls her back with a hook and drags her onto the boat. The next day, search teams are looking for Eggsy while Moss tries to figure out how to find her. He suddenly remembers a surfing app that tracks wave activity along different beaches. He checks it and sees Avi's car driving along a road, then notices Tucker truck passing the same road in the opposite direction. He searches online for Tucker Company and finds out he rents out his boat for tours. Moss calls and to ask if he saw Xavi the night before, but the phone is off, so he heads to the marina to confront him. At the same time, Tucker has already returned, ignoring Dave and buying a new camera to replace the one Xavi tossed in the water. Moss reaches the boat and knocks on the cabin door, but no one answers as he walks away. He hears a faint noise from below deck. He presses his ear to the floor and realizes it is Avi, trying to free herself. He breaks the glass, rushes toward the sound, opens the gate door, and is shocked to see her tied up. He removes the tape from her mouth, and she tells him she was kidnapped, begging him to call the police. He goes up to the deck to get signal and makes the call, but Tucker suddenly attacks him, knocking him down. Moss tries to fight back and reach the phone, but Tucker drags him away with a hook, grabs the phone, and ends the call. Tucker moves in to strike, but Moss surprises him with a powerful punch, knocking him down and nearly choking him out before Dave steps in and hits Moss, the head knocking him unconscious. Dave then hears Xavi screaming for help, and before he understands what is happening, Tucker kills him with the hook. Moss wakes up tied to a bed next to Xavi. She asks if he called the police. He apologizes, saying he could not. She thanks him for trying. Tucker walks in, drugs them again, and when they wake up, they are both tied up on the deck. Tucker cuts a lock of Moss' hair, keeps it, and lifts him with the winch, lowering him toward the shark-filled water. Moss panics when he sees the sharks below, screaming, but Xavi tells him to stay still and not move, so the sharks will not attack. He listens and stays calm, and the sharks pass by without touching him. Tucker gets angry and stabs Moss, so he will bleed and attract them. But suddenly he stops the winch when he hears a plane approaching. He pulls Moss and Xavi back quickly and waits until it flies away. Xavi looks at Moss unconscious and feels guilty. Believing this is her fault, she decides to break her finger to slip out of the cuffs, but even that is not enough, so she makes the painful choice to cut it off, freeing herself. When Tucker returns, he finds her bed empty. She appears behind the door and locks him inside. He tries to escape through the window while she runs to the control cabin, attempting to start the boat and head to shore, but Tucker shuts down the power, leaving her hopeless. Then she notices a nearby island, grabs a flare to send a distress signal. Tucker comes up behind her, trying to grab her. She swings the flare at him but misses and runs toward the kitchen, trying to break a window. Her clothes get caught, giving Tucker time to reach her. He pulls her down and lunges with the dagger, but she smashes him with the pan, jumps into the water, and swims toward the island. Tucker takes a small boat and catches her on the shore, covering her mouth and choking her until she passes out. She wakes up hanging from the winch above the ocean as a massive shark circles below. Tucker is thrilled, saying, "This is the show he has always wanted." He lowers her into the water. She forces herself to stay calm while he films. As the shark approaches, she kicks it away, enraged. Tucker grabs a spear and attacks the shark, trying to provoke it into killing her, but the shark snaps the spear from his hands, tosses it aside. Xavi grabs the spear, preparing to defend herself, but the shark dives and disappears. She hooks the spear onto the winch, climbs up, and frees herself, while Tucker keeps filming, obsessed with her suffering. He is stunned when she cuts the rope and drops into the water, coming face to face with the massive shark. She stays completely still, and it swims past without attacking. She climbs back onto the boat and finds Tucker searching the water. When he realizes she is behind him, she shoots him in the chest with a spear. He falls into the ocean, desperately trying to swim back before the shark reaches him, but the shark bursts from the water, grabs him in a brutal attack, and drags him under, tearing him in half. Xavi films him just like he filmed his victims. The shark returns and takes the rest of his body away. The rope suddenly wraps around her leg, pulling her into the water. Moss calls out her name in terror before losing consciousness. Moments later, she resurfaces. After freeing herself, sees Tucker remains floating nearby and pushes them away before climbing back onto the boat. She tries to wake Moss but gets no response. Then she spots another boat passing by lights, a flare, and waves it from the top of the deck. The captain sees her and heads their way. She rushes back to Moss, begging him to stay alive, telling him she loves him and wants to marry him, and he finally wakes up, telling her he loves her too. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you never miss a new video, and I will see you next time. Take care.